Did you know?
History books for life. History books for life.
And
Africa is not our home. Oh, while I just back. Africa is not our home.
because
The Indians were you. The Indians were you. The Indians were you.
that's why.
Finds himself in exile in his own land. His own land.
So,
You just want to claim a spot for the whole thing.
because
We were always here. We were always here. We were always here. We were always here. Welcome to the Aboriginal Channel. On this episode, we're going to be reading from an inquiry into the distinctive characteristics of the Aboriginal race of America to compare the physical description of the Eskimo to the physical description of the Indian. Without repeating what was said in reference to the Indian, we may briefly advert for the purpose of comparison to the widely different characteristics of the Eskimo. These people are remarkable for a large and rather elongated head, which is low in front and projecting behind. The great width and flatness of the face is noted by all travelers. Their eyes are small and black, the mouth small and round, and the nose is diminutive and depressed, that on looking at a skull and profile, the nasal bones are hardly visible. Their complexion, moreover, is comparatively fair, and there is a tendency throughout life to fullness and obesity. The traveler Hearn, while in company with a tribe of northern Indians, mentions a circumstance which is at least curious because it shows the light in which the Eskimo are regarded by their proximate neighbors on the south. He was the unwilling witness of a premeditated and unprovoked massacre of an entire encampment of Eskimo, men, women, and children, and it is curious to remark that the aggressors apologized for their cruelty, not only on the plea of an ancient feud, but by asserting that their unoffending victims were a people of different nature and origin for themselves, even in respect to sexual conformation. A description of the Indians are given in the book The History of Alabama and subsequently that of Georgia and Mississippi by Albert J. Pickett, 1851. The Indians of Alabama, Florida, Georgia, and Mississippi were so similar in form, mode of living, and general habits in the time of De Soto and others who succeeded him in penetrating these wilds that they will be treated on the pages of this chapter as one people. The males were admirably proportioned, athletic, active, and graceful in their movements, and possessed open and manly countenances. The females, not inferior in form, were smaller and many of them beautiful. No ugly or ill-formed Indians were seen except at the town of Tula, west of the Mississippi. Corpulency was rare, nevertheless it was excessive in a few instances. In the neighborhood of Allapattee in Florida, the chief was so fat that he was compelled to move about his house upon his hands and knees. So we see where the Eskimo has a tendency throughout life to fullness and obesity. And for the Indians, at least in Alabama, Florida, Georgia, and Mississippi, corpulency was rare. And that's the exact opposite of having a tendency for fullness and obesity. It should be noted that the traveler Hearn, witnessing a premeditated and unprovoked massacre of an entire encampment of the Eskimo by their proximate neighbors on the south, should be noted because it shows a separation between the Eskimo and the Indian, keeps the Eskimo up north and the Indian south of that north. It reveals an ancient feud between the Eskimo and the Indian that was the reason for keeping the Eskimo up north. The question is, when did the Eskimo come out of the igloo and into the teepee? Through the history books, which has all been a lie. So therefore, if it's a lie, then what's the truth? If it's a lie, then what's the truth?